I love the church. Now, for some of you, that's probably reassuring. Maybe for a few of you, it's a given. Okay. But I love the church. I love the great power that the church has for some amazing good in this world. That we here in the church, we have the power to change people's lives for the better. We can heal brokenness. We can welcome people into community. We can reconcile people to God. We can change people's lives forever for the better. So I love the church. Now the church, however, is also capable of doing some tremendous harm in this world. People in the name of the church, in the name of God, have gone out and have hurt other people just as profoundly, and broken relationships, made people to feel hated or unloved, unwelcome. The same is absolutely true for the Scripture as well. That while the Scripture, the Holy Bible, is a tremendous tool for some powerful, powerful good in this world, can give people hope, can inspire them, and fill their hearts with the Spirit of God's love. I've also seen the Bible, I'm sure you have, I've seen the Bible used as a weapon, used to hurt people, used to make them feel unloved, unwanted. And so the Bible is a powerful tool for good, but can also be twisted and used as a powerful tool for evil as well. So that's why we have a responsibility. Now I'm going to start by prefacing, I'll ask you all a question. Anybody here planning on being a powerful tool for evil in the world? Right? Okay, good. That was a test, so you all passed. But we have a responsibility here. We have a responsibility to take seriously the Scripture because it's so powerful, and to study it and to look at how we are using it carefully because it can do such good in this world, but can be used to do a lot of harm. The same is certainly true for our gospel reading for today. It's another parable, just like last week. So those of you who were here last week, you may remember we talked about reading the parables. And when you read a parable, it's an invitation to put yourself in the story and see where you intersect with Jesus' lesson, to learn how to take it into your life. And our parable last week was the parable of the sower, sowing seeds. And one of the things that we talked about was putting yourselves in the shoes of being the sower, sowing the seeds of the gospel of love and life and grace, and sowing those seeds abundantly. And one of the things we see in the sower is that the sower doesn't pick and choose what ground is worthy of her time. She doesn't look at a patch of ground and say, the gospel's not going to grow there, I'm not going to waste my time. She sows her seeds abundantly and trusts in God to let things take root where they will. We talked last week about seeing plants grow in places where you wouldn't expect. If anybody's ever seen a tree growing out of their gutter in their house, sometimes things take root where you don't expect. And that's the way it is with the gospel. Our job is to just spread the seeds and let ourselves be surprised where it takes root. Now, this week's parable is, very next Sunday, another parable about a sower sowing seeds. And we can continue with that same idea of putting ourselves in the shoes of being the sower and what we learn from that. And there's a fundamental lesson that we get from Jesus in being the sower in this story, is that while we're doing this good work of sowing the seeds of the gospel, love and of life and of grace for others, and sowing those seeds, there will be others around us that are sowing bad seeds. They'll come behind us in the night and they won't be sowing seeds of love. They'll be sowing seeds of hatred, judgment, exclusion. And that could be really discouraging sometimes. Imagine being a sower, sowing seeds in your field, working hard, doing well, and having someone come behind you and undermine all your good work. It's discouraging. Jesus knows that. That's why he tells us a story about not losing hope. Not losing hope, because our work of sowing the seeds of the gospel in this world won't be for naught. That God will make things right. God knows the difference between the seeds and will come. And to not lose hope, to not to not lose heart and give up and pack our bags and go home and think that the sowing of the gospel is a waste of time because people around us are undermining it. Don't lose hope. Now, another place, just like last week, we could put ourselves in the parable in different places. This week as well, we can put ourselves in different places in this story. And if we put ourselves in the place of being the plants in this parable, planted in the ground, this is one of those passages I was telling you about where it can be used for some powerful good in this world, but I have seen it used to do some powerful harm as well. I've seen this gospel used to judge other people and try to stand here, sometimes from the pulpit, sometimes going, well, you're weed, you're wheat, you're wheat, you're weed, you're wheat, and can do some powerful harm in this world. I remember one time in particular going to the hospital bed of a young woman, a college-age woman who was dying from a terminal illness. And her family was gathered at her bedside, and they were all crying. And they weren't crying because she was dying. They were crying because they knew she was going to hell, because she was a lesbian. And their church had used this very passage of Scripture, the very passage, to tell her, you are a piece of weed in this world, and you're going to be gathered up and thrown into the fire. And it was the church that had taught her that. It was the Scripture that they pointed to. So of course they believed it. They took that into their hearts and were devastated. And this is, like I said, I've heard the church do some terrible things, and this rates up there. This rates up there among them. That we will all have differences here. We will all disagree with each other, and we get to disagree with each other. We get to disagree about sexuality. We get to disagree about the church and about money and about politics. But one of the things we don't get to do here, one of the things we do not get to do here, I assure you, is look at one of our fellow sisters and brothers and tell them that they're a weed and that they deserve to be thrown into the fire. We don't get to do that here. There are plenty of passages people point to tell people, well, black people are weeds. Democrats are weeds. Republicans are weeds. If you're gay, you're a weed, you deserve to be thrown in the fire. And all of those things are missing the complete point of this parable, because the parable doesn't even tell us that it's our job to choose who's the weeds and who's the weed. It's not our job to figure it out, does it? The parable says it's God's job to figure it out. And God, we can just trust Him to figure this all out, to make sense of it all. And our job is, so it's fundamentally not a parable about judgment. It's a fundamental parable about hope and about non-judgment, if anything. To go into the world and be about sowing the seeds of the gospel and letting go of what grows there, letting go of whether it's a waste of our time or if it'll take root, but to just spread the seeds of love and life abundantly and then trust in God to make sense of all the rest of it. So if it's not our job to be about judgment, that actually gives us a great opportunity here. Here in the church, it gives us a wonderful opportunity because it means we can do some surprising things in this world. Because this is a world where oftentimes the church has kind of a negative reputation for being judgmental, kind of a negative reputation for being a little hypocritical. And so we have an opportunity here in this place to really surprise people with how compassionate we can be, to surprise people with how inviting and non-judgmental and loving we can be. And we can change people's lives, to fundamentally shock them at how good the church can be in ways that they didn't realize the church could be. And that will leave a lasting impression with people. And so I love the church. And I'm excited and filled with joy to be a part of a church that goes and sows that kind of compassion in the world. So let us take heart when we read this gospel passage. Take heart that it's our job to roll up our sleeves and sow love and life and grace in this world. And then trust in God. Trust in the hope that God has taken care of all of the rest. Thanks be to God.